Hi Loomers, it's Michelle from Rainbow Loom, and today we'll be learning how to make the Triple Honeycomb bracelet created by the Rainbow Loom Design Team. This tutorial has been highly requested by a lot of you who have the Mega Mighty Loom. I would consider this a beginner level design, just like the original honeycomb bracelet. Although there are more bands and it takes much longer to make, the steps are all pretty simple and straightforward, with no unconventional looming steps, since we are looming everything back to itself. There are also no tie bands used, so all of the bands we place down will be loomed. If you enjoy this design, tutorial, or Rainbow Loom in general, then please leave a like and comment below which band colors you are using for this bracelet. Now let's go over the materials needed. Today I am using the Mega Mighty case from Target, which comes with one of the Mega Mighty looms that I already took out. It also comes with a plastic hook. This kit includes C-clips, but I will use these clear ones that I have already opened. You will need 3 or 6 C-clips. I will be using 6 because I want my bracelet to be more secure. The Mega Mighty case also comes with the Autoloom, which you can use to extend your bracelet if you are only using one of the Mega Mighty looms. I will show you how to do that towards the end. And lastly, you will need some bands, and I will be using the rainbow colors included in this kit. You can make a full-length bracelet using 2 of the Mega Mighty looms. To connect your looms, first orient the looms so that they are facing the same direction. One of the looms will have some crescent-shaped hinges that we will place the other end of the loom on top of. We will line up the looms and place the end of the other loom on those hinges. Once those looms are in place, then press them together to secure them. From the side, they should be flat. Let's go over the band count. If you are using just one of the Mega Mighty looms, then the pattern will use 118 rubber bands. The number of bands for the extension depends on your wrist size and whether you are doing a single chain or fishtail extension. So I would prepare around 30 to 70 extra rubber bands. In total, that is 148 to 188 rubber bands. If you are doing the full bracelet, either using 2 Mega Mighty looms or by extending the pattern with a single Mega Mighty loom, then I would recommend doing the hexagon pattern 12 to 13 times, which would be 198 bands to 214 bands in total. Let's get started placing down our bands. First, make sure that your loom is oriented correctly. The pegs should make a U shape, and you should see an arrow with a number 1 and an icon of some rubber bands. This indicates that we will place bands down starting from this side. I'm zooming you into the beginning of the loom. I have my hook nearby to help me push down the bands, and I am just using one loom today. I will use one color of the rainbow for each row of hexagons that we make, so I'm going to start off with the pink rubber bands. Using 3 pink bands, we're first going to drop these on the 2nd, 4th, and 6th pegs of the first row. These loose bands will help us with the extension at the end, so just take a single band and drop it onto the peg. We will loom these at the very end, so for most of this bracelet, you will just ignore them. Now we will get started making the hexagons, and this pattern will be repeated until the end of your loom, or if you're using 2 looms, until you reach 12 to 13 hexagons in length. Starting with the bottom of the hexagons at the beginning of our loom, I'm using my first color, which is pink again, and we will place down single bands from left to right in a zigzag pattern. Place the first band going down, then another single band going up, then going down, then going up, then down, and lastly up. Now we will place down the bands for the sides of our hexagon. So take 4 single bands in your first color, which again for me is pink, and we will place them going straight up on the first peg. Skip the 2nd peg, place a band going up on the 3rd peg, skip the 4th one, place a band on the 5th, skip the next one, and place a band going up on the last peg. Now we will work on the tops of the hexagons by placing bands in our first color from left to right in a zigzag pattern, but this time we will start with the band going up. With a single band, place it from the first vertical band going up, then another single band going down, then place a band going up, then a band going down, and going up, and lastly down. So now you can see our 3 hexagons that make up each section of the Triple Honeycomb bracelet, And we will do the same pattern until you reach the end of your loom, or you have 12 to 13 hexagons in length. I will do this 2 more times with you. But before that, make sure that your bands are not overlapping each other. I have turned my loom to the front side, and you can see that these 2 bands in the middle are crossing each other. If you're a beginner loomer, this might cause some errors while you are looming later on, so I would recommend uncrossing these bands if this does happen. You want to make sure that the band you place last is on top. Also, you can use the back of your hook to push down your bands. This makes room for more bands and also makes the hooking process later on a little easier. Now let's work on our second set of hexagons, and I will be changing colors to yellow. We will first do the bottom of the hexagons, placing bands from left to right again. Place the first band going down so that it touches the first hexagon. Then place a band going up, then down, then up, then down, and up. Now we can do the sides of our second set of hexagons, so place a vertical band going up on the first peg, skip the second, place a band going up on the third peg, skip the fourth, place a vertical band on the fifth peg, skip the next one, and place another band down on the last peg. We will work on the tops of our hexagons to complete them. So again, take your second color, and we will place bands in a zigzag pattern from left to right. Place the first band going up, then down, up, down, up, and lastly down. This completes our second set of hexagons. You can see that these 2 sets of hexagons look exactly the same, so we will just continue the pattern that we've been doing until the end of your loom, or until this is long enough to go around your wrist, which for me is around 12 to 13 hexagons. I will do this with you one more time, but for this set, I'm using the color green. Let's do the bottoms of our hexagons by placing 6 bands in a zigzag pattern from left to right, making sure that the first band is angled down. I'm also periodically pushing down these bands to make room for more. Then, let's place down the vertical bands for the sides of our hexagon. We will place down these 4 single bands on the odd numbered pegs. You can also just look at the previous hexagons to help determine where to place these. Now let's close off the tops of our hexagons with 6 single bands in a zigzag pattern, going from left to right, but this time, make sure that the first band is angled up. I will continue doing this pattern until I am unable to place another full hexagon down on this loom. So I'll meet you when I have a length of 7 hexagons placed down. I'm back with my almost completed band placement. I have 7 hexagons in length here on my loom, and you can see at the top that there's a little bit of extra room because I didn't have enough space to add another full hexagon. So this is what my loom looks like now. The last 3 bands we will add on the loom are our cap bands. These are double loop bands placed on a single peg, which marks the start of our bracelet when looming. Get 3 bands of whatever color your last hexagon is, and we will place these cap bands on the second peg, middle peg, and the 6th or second to last peg. There are a couple ways to place on cap bands, and I will show you 3 different ways to do this. For the first one, if you have this version of our hook, then you can place a single band on the back of your hook and twist the band once so that there are 2 loops of the band on your hook. Then you will insert the back of your hook into the second peg and slide both loops of our cap band onto the peg. When you're done, you can see that there are 2 loops of the band at the top of the peg. We will place on 2 more cap bands. Another way to place on a cap band is to use the tip of your hook and place a single band on. Then twist the band once so that there are 2 loops of the band. Grab both loops with your fingers and bring the band to the tip of your hook. Then place it onto the peg. These methods all get the same result, and you can do whichever one is easier. The last way to put on a cap band is to place it directly on the loom, so I'm turning my loom and I'm placing a single band on the peg that we want the cap band to be on. Then use your hook to twist the band once around the peg and let go. Now you can see all 3 of our cap bands on the loom. Let's start the looming process now. The first thing we're going to do is flip our loom around 180 degrees. Now the peg should make a lowercase n shape, and there should be an arrow with a number 2 and an icon of a hook, which indicates that we will start looming from this side. Get out your hook and let's loom. We will first loom the bottom of our first set of hexagons. Stick your hook into the second peg here, where our cap band is, and we will loom these 2 bands out to the sides. I will first loom the one on top, which is this one going to the left. After that, I will loom the remaining band on the peg, which should connect to the right. Let's do that now. Stick your hook into the peg with the cap band, pull back on the 2 layers of the cap band, and grab the second band from the bottom. Bring it to its other half, which should be to the left. Now we can do the same to the right side. From inside the peg, pull back on the 2 loops of the cap band, and grab the remaining single band. Bring it back to itself on the right side. Let's move on to the middle peg where our second cap band is and do the same thing. Then we'll do the same thing for the third cap band. This is another angle that hopefully shows you the layers of the bands more clearly. I'm going to work on the cap band in the middle of my loom here. You can see that we have the 2 layers of the cap band on top, then the bands that we will loom over to the sides. Stick your hook into the peg, pull back on the 2 layers of the cap band, and grab the second band from the bottom on the peg. Bring that over to its other half on the left side. The cap band lifted a little bit off the peg here, so I'm just going to push that down. Then we will loom this other cap band back to itself on the right side. Now we will move on to this peg here with our last cap band and do the same thing. Stick your hook into the peg, pull back on the 2 layers of the cap band, grab the next band on the peg, and bring it up and over to the left side. Then loom the remaining band over to the right. Hopefully this angle helps you if you find the looming part a little bit challenging. For the next step, we will loom the 4 bands that make up the sides of our hexagons forward. I will do the first one zoomed in, and then I will go back to the other camera angle. We will loom this vertical band on the left side first, and you can see that it's the very bottom band on the peg. So just stick your hook into the peg, pull back on all the other bands that we have already loomed, and grab the bottommost band. Bring that forward back to itself. Now we will do this for the other 3 vertical bands. With the pegs in the middle, there are a couple more bands on them, but for the vertical bands, just remember that you're only looming the bottom band. I'm starting on the second vertical band here, and just stick your hook into the peg, pull back on the other bands, and grab the bottommost vertical band. Bring that forward. If you feel like there is too much tension on the band and that it might break, then just circle your hook around the peg to release the tension. Now let's work on the third vertical band. This peg also has a few more bands on it, but just remember that we are looming the bottom band. Just stick your hook into the peg, grab the bottom band, and bring that forward. If it's too tight, remember that you can gently circle your hook around the peg. Let's loom the last vertical band. Pull back on the other bands we have already loomed, and loom the bottom band forward. Now let's do the top of the hexagons. We will work on one hexagon at a time from left to right. We will loom the bands from the sides to the center. First, loom the band on the left to the center. Then loom the band on the right to the center. We will do this for all 3 hexagons. Before looming these, make sure that your bands are pushed down. Stick your hook into the peg on the left side, grab the bottom band, and loom it towards the center. Then we will move to the other side and we will loom the band that is the second one from the bottom. Bring that to the center of this hexagon. When you loom a band back to itself correctly, you can see that there is a teardrop shape made by the band. Let's work on the next hexagon. Loom the band over to the center. Then move to the right side and loom the second band from the bottom over to the center. Now let's work on the last hexagon. This one is really easy. Just loom the band on the left over to the center. And loom the band on the right over to the center. This completes your first set of hexagons, and we will do basically the same thing for all the other rows of hexagons. I'm actually going to skip over this next section because the purple blends in a little too much with the loom, so I'm just going to work on the blue one next with you, but just keep in mind that we're basically doing the same thing for all of the hexagon sections. We will first loom the bottoms of the hexagons, and we will start with the hexagon on the left. Stick your hook into the bottom middle peg and grab the second band from the bottom. Loom it back to itself over to the left. Then stick your hook into the same peg and grab the remaining unloomed band. Bring that back to itself over to the right. Now we will work on the hexagon in the middle. Stick your hook into the middle peg and grab the second band from the bottom and loom it over to the left. Then stick your hook into the same peg, grab the bottom band, and bring it back to itself on the right. Let's do the bottom of the third hexagon now. Stick your hook into the bottom middle peg, pull back on the other bands, grab the second one from the bottom, and bring it back to itself over to the left. Reach back into the same peg, grab the bottom band, and bring it over to the right. Now let's loom the 4 vertical bands that make up the sides of our hexagon. Grab the bottommost band, which should be the vertical one, and bring it forward back to itself. On these 2 pegs here, there are a few more bands, but just remember that we are grabbing the bottommost vertical band. So just loom this one forward, and stick your hook into the next peg, pull back on the bands, and loom the bottom band forward. Then I'm doing the same to the last vertical band, just looming the bottom band forward to its other half. Let's loom the tops of our hexagons now one by one, starting with the left one. So for each hexagon, just loom the remaining side bands over to the center. Stick your hook into the peg, pull back on the bands, and loom the bottom one over to the center. Move to the other side, and this one has 2 unloomed bands. Just loom the second one from the bottom to the center. Then move on to the next hexagon. Loom the remaining unloomed band on this peg to the center. Move to the other side, and this peg also has 2 bands we have to loom. Grab the second from the bottom and loom that one to the center. Then the last hexagon is the easiest. Just loom the band on the left side to the center. And loom the band on the right side to the center. Just continue doing this until you have loomed all of the hexagons, and if you want to continue doing this together, check the timestamps in the description. I will meet you when I have finished looming all of the hexagons. I have finished looming these, and this is what my loom looks like. Now we can end our bracelet and make our extensions with the help of the loose bands at the top. I will first add 3 C-clips to the ends of each of the 3 hexagons just so that we can safely take our creation off the loom. I'm just going to grab the loose band, and you can see that it's at the very bottom of the peg. I will loom it just like we would any other band, so stick your hook into the peg, grab the loose band, and bring it forward. Put both loops on your hook. Then take a clip and place it on both loops of the loose band. Do this again for the other loose bands, so grab onto it and loom it. Place both loops on your hook and put the C-clip on to secure it. And this is the last one. Just loom it. Place both loops on your hook and attach the C-clip on. Make sure that the clips are on securely, and then we can gently remove our bracelet from the loom. I'm using my hook to help me with this. Be a bit more careful at the top just in case the C-clips fall off. After adjusting the bands a little bit, this is our honeycomb bracelet off the loom. As you can see, this is not long enough to go around my wrist, so let's make 3 extensions for this bracelet. I will show you 2 methods for doing this. The first way to extend your bracelet is to use the Autoloom, and the Mega Mighty case that I have from Target conveniently includes one. With the loose band connected to our C-clip, we can use that to start a fishtail extension. Pinch the last band with your fingers and carefully remove the C-clip from the last band. If it makes it easier, you can also use your hook to help hold onto the band. Place the 2 loops on your hook onto the Autoloom. So one loop will go on the left peg of the Autoloom, and the other loop will go on the right peg of the Autoloom. Now you can start making a fishtail bracelet, so just stack 2 bands on top, making sure that they don't overlap. Then press the bottom here and let go. Lightly tap on the bands to reset them, and then you can continue to place a band on, press the bottom, and tap. In the description box below, I will link a video tutorial that Angelin did on using the Autoloom and how to troubleshoot some mistakes. Another way to add an extension is to make a single chain using the loom and connecting your bracelet on. Make sure that your loom is oriented correctly, and then you can place the bands down just going straight up. The number of bands you place on depends on your wrist size, so I'm placing down around 10 bands. Where we would normally place down a cap band, you're actually going to place down one of the loose bands connected to the C-clip. If you're scared of the bracelet falling apart, you can place the last band on the peg first, and then carefully take off the C-clip. I'm moving the C-clip over to the side, and then I'm taking it off. Now you can loom the extension, so just turn your loom around 180 degrees and loom the bottom band on each peg straight forward. Then you can take a clip and place it on the 2 loops of the last band. Remove your extension from the loom. Now I have 2 extensions on my bracelet, and I will add a third on my own. I think I'll use the Autoloom again, but in a single chain pattern instead of a fishtail pattern. After you have made all 3 extensions, we can connect the last band of each extension to each of the cap bands. If you are using C-clips and you want your bracelet to be more secure, then we can use the double C-clip method. Get 3 more C-clips out, so 6 total, and we will place 1 on each of the 3 cap bands. To find the cap bands, just try to find 3 double loop bands that kind of stick out. and place the C-clips onto the 2 loops of the cap band. Now I have 6 C-clips on my bracelet. We will connect the C-clips to the other sides, so make sure that the C-clip opening is facing up on one end, and then connect it to the other side. Flip your bracelet around, and we will attach the other C-clip on, but this time the opening will face down. Then just repeat this for the other 4 C-clips. After attaching on your clips, your triple honeycomb bracelet is now complete. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to create this triple honeycomb bracelet created by the Rainbow Loom Design Team. If you make this, please tag us at official_Rainbow Loom and use the hashtag Rainbow Loom so that we can see your creations on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We also host weekly giveaways on our Instagram called our Loom Star of the Week contest, where you can win some fun prizes, so be sure to follow us there. Also, once we reach 60,000 followers on Instagram, we will be doing an extra big giveaway. In the description box below, you can find where to purchase your own Rainbow Loom products. We have so many kits available and there's honestly something for everyone. We are also selling some Rainbow Loom products on our TikTok shop, so if you're in the US, check out our store which has some exclusive bundles and deals that you can't find anywhere else. And again, thanks for watching this tutorial and I'll see you in the next one.